Hey guys, Chickadee Maine, aka Deboo, Deboo.com with a Deboo.com surf forecast update. This forecast update effective around 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursday, December 4th, 2014. And guys, it's been a while since we've done a video forecast update. Hasn't really been anything to get us excited about up until now. It looks like the Atlantic is about to bust open. We'll show you that here in just a few moments. Gonna start you off on the west coast of the United States. Here's that area of low pressure that help bring California all of that rain that they've had over the last couple of days. This is going to take an area of low pressure and move it across the United States over the next 2 to 3 days and push a small area of low pressure off the mid-Atlantic coast. This, backed by high pressure, looks like it's going to create a tight northeast pressure gradient along the Outer Banks. We'll show you that as we get into the models. The next area that we're watching is northeast of Hispaniola and northeast of Puerto Rico. This trough of low pressure that's in here that we posted about the last couple of days. It does look like an area of low pressure is going to develop over the next 48 to 72 hours, also creating some northeast fetching here in the southwest Atlantic. This trough of low pressure, there's a southwest and northeast flow in here. We're going to show you that when we get into the satellite loops. And then finally, in the extended forecast, believe it or not, this area of cloudiness that is off West Africa, there's also a southwest to northeast component with the flow in here, and we could see in the extended period an area of low pressure develop off the northwest coast of Africa that could help tighten up the gradient between high pressure ridge in the Atlantic in the extended. We'll show you that here in just a few moments. Again, here's that satellite infrared loop now of the area that moved in off California. This is going to spread off towards the east and put an area of low pressure off the mid-Atlantic. Here's that trough of low pressure now, northeast of Hispaniola with an area of low pressure forecast to develop. Seas look like they'll probably increase in here 12 to 15 feet, possibly higher. We'll just have to wait and see on that, how it all pans out. And then here is that area that we're talking about in the intertropical convergence zone that's showing some lift off towards the northeast and may develop an area of low pressure near the Canary Islands that will help tighten up the gradient in the Atlantic, creating more northeast fetch. So here's last night's run of the GFS model forecast. Starting you off on Friday, you can see that there's a little bit of pressure gradient in here just north of Puerto Rico starting to tighten up. That's east-northeast winds at 10 to 15 knots, a little higher. Keep in mind that we've already had this pre-existing east-northeast fetch in here over the last 3 to 4 days. We've got high pressure now moving into the Atlantic, also creating some northeast fetch in here aimed at the Outer Banks. In 48 hours, you can see that area that's off the west coast of the United States now moving in here towards Tennessee and towards the east coast. And this area of low pressure northeast of Puerto Rico, creating some nice stacked pressure gradient in here through Bermuda, all the way up in here through the Canadian Maritimes in here. That's east-northeast winds 15 to 20 knots higher with a gale developing, okay? And then moving you into 72 hours here, you can see that area of low pressure does develop by Sunday. And here's that area of low pressure moving into the mid-Atlantic. Look at this high pressure stacking up behind it. That's northeast winds in there at 25 to 35 knots, moving in here towards the northeast states. Moving you out to 96, the high pressure pushes that low pressure into the Atlantic. Low pressure lifts east of the Bermuda, lifts off towards the north and northeast. Look at this tight gradient now behind this high pressure. That's northeast winds 45 to 50 knots in here, aimed at sending some big swells towards Florida and the east coast, taking you out to 120. Here's 120 and the high pressure expanding again. Look at this east-northeast wind that's aimed out here towards the mid-Atlantic now. That is setting up some huge swells heading for the east coast of the United States. And then back over in here towards the right-hand portion of the image, you can now see an area of low pressure starting to develop off the northwest African coast. Moving out to 144, here it comes into your picture now, and then after that low trails off, it wants to leave some energy behind. And look, Another area of low pressure trying to start to develop in here. Now, this is way past 96, and the models have not been reliable after the 5 to 7 day. I'm going to leave it right here for right now. But as you can see, guys, this is really setting up, especially if this area of low pressure that's off the northwest Atlantic can get in here towards the North Atlantic and help tighten up the gradient. We'll just show you as a teaser how this may try to set up as this tries to get in here. Look, this is for next Thursday, still showing high pressure, long fetch of northeast winds aimed in here at the mid-Atlantic all the way down in here towards Florida. That's all we got for you for now, guys. Stay tuned for the next update.